This is Let's Talk Business with your host, Marc Ebinger. Now, here's Marc.
Welcome to Let's Talk Business, a show that highlights and promotes entrepreneurs to learn more about their vision, goals, and marketing strategy. Coming up on the show today, we're going to talk about home water softeners' dirty little secret that the industry doesn't want to invest in correcting. In studio with us today is Richard Garcia, a water treatment expert and the owner of Superior Water Softeners. Richard, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Mark. I appreciate you having me back on.
All the way from New Orleans. Huh?
Yeah, I live in New Orleans, but I'm born and raised here in San Antonio. My business has been here for 19 years.
Love it. I'm your host, Marc Ebinger, the owner of Krukus Virtual Staffing, a company that specializes in providing remote staffing solutions for small to medium-sized businesses by hiring skilled English-speaking virtual assistants from the Philippines and Latin America.
And I am your co-host, Heather Boehme, certified business coach and owner of Onset Professional Development, where we turn your should-do list into a will-do list, helping business owners bridge the gap between feeling pain and figuring out where to start working on it.
And my name's Howie Nestel. I own Sharkmatic Advertising. I've been in marketing for 30 years, and one thing that I realized is when clients ask us, what do you all do? I used to say graphic design, web design, and SEO, but now I simply say we turn prospects into clients, because when somebody comes to us for digital marketing, I know they want more customers, and that's what we focus on. And here's a quick reminder for everybody to follow the Let's Talk Business podcast on all major podcast platforms and social media where you can catch video versions of the show. You can also get to everything very easily at satalkradio.com.
And if you're going to be in the San Antonio area on Thursday, May 16th, be sure to join us at the next Let's Talk Business Mega Mixer. We're expecting at minimum 150 local business owners, but let's be honest, we're probably going to get more than that on site to mix, mingle, and connect with each other to do more business and grow their businesses. You can get all the info on our website at satalkradio.com, and that's where you can find the tickets as well.
Right, and the tickets are only $10, bargain of the century. $10 gets you into the event, gets you some margaritas, gets you some food snacks, and we donate 100% of the proceeds to a local nonprofit. This time, it's going to be to Discovery Camps, a camp for kids battling cancer, and everything that the people pay to come in. So let's say there's 150, that's $1,500. If it's 200 people, that's $2,000. Will go directly to kids going to a camp, kids with who are battling cancer. It's an amazing organization. So you do well in business and you do good by community.
Yeah, we're not only the cheapest date, but we are the most altruistic date that you're going to have next week. So
that's right.
Make sure to go buy your tickets before they sell out.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, when you go to a mixer, you're spending 3 hours out of your time to travel, to be there, to do the things. You should come away with some business, and that is the goal of what it is that we do there.
Yeah, and tell us just real quickly how the podcast hosts make sure that people meet somebody of value.
So that's the job. We've got 7 hosts of the show, and we're all going to be mixing, mingling, and bringing people together. That's the primary job of the hosts at the show. It's not to promote ourselves. It's to connect other people. So like Heather says, we scrape the walls, right? The wallflowers, we bring them into the middle. Hey, who are you looking to connect with? Okay, I know somebody. Because we know pretty much everybody that's going to be there. Why not take that opportunity to connect people who don't know each other so that they can get some business done? That's one of the things we did on the first one. And this one's going to be even magnified, even greater. So.
Yeah, and people did tell me afterwards that they met 1 or 2 or 3 people that they actually did business with. And it was all because the hosts introduced them to other people that we thought they would mesh well with. So, and we'll do it again.
And if I see you standing against the wall, you're going to have a very uncomfortable conversation.
Like a high school dance if you're right there by the punch bowl.
What industry are you? Okay, you're going to meet this person. I'll just drag you across the room.
Right.
Yeah, it's going to be cool that way. All right, so I want to give a quick shout out to Zach Rogers, a lead consultant for ZLR Enterprises, and to Jeremy Proctor, the managing director at Central Texas Aerials. I'm excited that we connect and look forward on LinkedIn and look forward to networking with you guys. Now, speaking of networking, so I network a lot here in San Antonio, and I'm starting to branch out like into Austin and beyond that, of course, on LinkedIn. So I wanted a way to something to invite people to where we can learn more about each other's business, but not only that, but connect each other to like a mixer, almost like an online mixer where we're learning about each other and connecting each other to other businesses that can help our business grow. So I'm launching what I call Just Network, and the name of it speaks to what it is that I want to do for 60 minutes. I don't want to get educated. I don't want to learn about whatever. I just want to network and get connected with people, right? I'm already learning a bunch of stuff everywhere else. So the format of the networking event is twice a month, right? First Tuesday and the third Tuesday of every month. We're going to be meeting for 60 minutes on Zoom. We're going to have a 5-minute welcome, a 15-minute breakout session where everybody goes and talks to each other. We got 5 people to a breakout room. Everybody gets 3 minutes to introduce each other to each other's business, and then put into the chat how to contact us, how to connect with us, and actually set up a one-on-one meeting. So when we see somebody, it's like, you know what, I need to, someone who's in the water treatment could be a really good connection for me because of whatever the ABC, right? Well, then I would reach out. Once I listen to you, and I'm like, okay, I kind of like Richard. I like what he's about. I like his story. Then they'll reach out and connect with you. That's the purpose of those breakout rooms. So after the first breakout session, come back together, and then one person will do a 10-minute presentation and answer some questions about their business, which is a great way to get a big platform. And then one more breakout session, same thing, and then we spend 5 minutes to say goodbye. So 60 minutes, you've connected with 8 to 10 people that are going to help you grow your network, and then you've got one-on-ones from that. That's an effective way to spend an hour in the morning twice a month.
I like that it's every other week instead of every week, because sometimes that can be too much. I'm part of a group like that is once a week, and the first 30 minutes are BSing, and there's 50 people in the group, and it gets a little out of control. So I like the idea of the breakout sessions, which the other group does not do. And that one's an international group of business owners. So all over the world, time frames are all crazy. But I'm happy to share some ideas with you on the launch. So I'll be in on the first one.
Well, and I love the structure of it because, you guys know I love structure and I tend to implement it wherever I go. But I've seen in online networking groups, rooms where entrepreneurs who absolutely can help each other, there's no structure. And just like you said, it ends up being BS or just kind of complaining about how hard it is to do this or that. And if somebody's not there to be like, rein it in, we're here to grow our businesses. So let's talk about that. You could be talking about this, I'm going to say sports game, even though I know that's probably not the right term, but you'd be talking about whatever for 30 minutes and then you realize you didn't do anything that you were supposed to be doing.
If you stay focused and structured, it could be very beneficial. Mm-hmm. I brought in a client from Mexico City. He met 3 people within a month that are now helping him with distribution in other Latin American countries, all through Zoom. They've never met in person.
Well, and the thing is if you handle network meetings correctly, you use that as a means to set up a one-on-one. That's where you can kind of get into the nuances of everything else, right? But the rest of it is like, give me an idea whether or not I even want to talk to you going forward.
And you're good at playing bad cop, by the way, because I see you on the pre-production meetings for the Let's Talk Business podcast mixer. When we're kind of getting out of line a little bit, you're like, okay, let's read it all back in. Here's where we're going to go, and we want to finish in the next 10 minutes. So I think I vote for you to run the meeting.
Yeah. Well,
just network.
I get too into the conversation, so I second that vote.
The network group launches on June 4th, so it's coming up quick. If you'd like to check it out, go to crukus.com/network to get all the details. That's crukus.com/network. And I look forward to seeing everybody on there. It's going to grow. I know it's going to be a huge success because it's needed, and it's going to be run well, and I'm going to invite a ton of people to it.
Is it like Patreon where you're going to charge my credit card $5 a month?
No, it'll be $15 a month, but it's not at first. The monetization comes later, but we've got to get it established, get all the wrinkles worked out first, and when we see there's the value,
prove out the concept,
then we charge.
Love it.
Yeah. So, all right, it's free till it's not free, right? Free 99?
Free 99.
All right, so Richard Garcia, great to have you back on the show. Look, water softening, water treatment, it's a big deal. People don't take it as seriously as they should. They think, well, it's just water, right? We're just drinking it, we're bathing in it, we're doing all the things in it, but we really don't take it seriously. And when it's being inundated with, chemicals and, it's already got bacteria and other things that are going on in there that we really don't want on our skin in our lives, cooking and bathing in the steam and all that kind of stuff. It is important. So it is a passion of mine. I share that passion, not as much, but I definitely have some passion there for it. So people are selling water softeners all the time, right? As soon as you move into a brand new house, there's going to be somebody knocking at your door looking to sell you a water softener. So as a layperson who doesn't know about this world, what are like 3 big questions that we should be asking when a water softener person comes to the house to sell us one?
That's a great question. Before I go there, just real quick, just want to mention that the state of Texas has defined water treatment as a business. And when we go to classes to get licensed, they tell you have 2 paths. One is how to actually treat water, how to understand how to clean water. The other is how to sell, how to actually run a business and be able to bring income in. I quickly migrated to the figure out how to clean water. I was interested in cleaning, not selling. So what I tell folks is when you call somebody or see a commercial on TV or an advertisement on the internet, you're really setting yourself up to be sold when you make a phone call, because the industry really wants to sell you something for the most part. So you should be asking a question such as, can you help me understand my water quality report? I think the federal government says you should know what's in your water. By law, you receive a consumer confidence report every July 1st. It's very difficult to understand if you're a layperson. So you should have a water treatment professional that understands how to read it and explain it to you, number one. Number two, what kind of technology are they selling? Are they selling 1950s technology? Are they selling today's modern type technology, which is designed to clean water softeners out, water filtration equipment out? Those are 2 totally different subjects. So you buy a water softener, you're getting something that's going to clean the rock out of the water. That's all it's going to do, clean the rock out of the water. It's not going to clean the water softener per se. That's a different subject matter. So number one is what's in your water. That's a consumer confidence report. You should actually educate yourself and understand that before you make the phone call. Number two, what kind of technology is being sold to you or presented to you? Most companies do not want to help you understand that because they're there to sell you a product. The third question is, how long have you been in business? Are you licensed to treat water or to install water treatment equipment? Those are 3 key questions that should be asked, or information that you should consider before you even do anything.
Where are they getting this water report? I don't think I've ever had one delivered to my house.
It comes every July 1st. It comes in the mail with your water purveyor's bill.
Who sends it?
Well, for instance, here locally, we're in San Antonio, so SAWS would send you your water treatment report. I'm not going to break out this little pile of papers that I have right here, but I just printed out 45 pages of SAWS water treatment reports since 2008. There's probably in this report alone over 100 water treatment reports.
Why is it significant to ask the water treatment salesperson or the water softener salesperson what's in the water or how to understand that report? Because they're not going to. They're going to be like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Look,
I took the sales training class.
Yeah, I took the sales. Exactly. Right. So that's the answer they're probably going to get. What then?
Well, there's since the dawn of time, there's a subject matter that nobody talks about. It's called biofilm. It's a secretion of every living thing that's in the water. Algae, organics, inorganics. I'm talking about radioactive material that's naturally or non-natural in the water. Radium, barium, man-made carcinogenics, because when they inject chlorine or chloramine gas into the water, it has this magic moment where it explodes something in your water, which are man-made carcinogenics. It used to be in 2008, there was only 8 listed man-made carcinogenics in the water. Now there's somewhere between 8 and 18 man-made carcinogenics in the water. And there's maximum control levels that are in the water treatment report, and the quality, the CCR, Consumer Confidence Report, that list the maximum control levels that are allowed to be in your water, and that's put out by the EPA, the maximum control levels. And then your water purveyor has to stay within a certain category or range within those numbers. And so it's my responsibility as your water treatment professional to understand that and help explain that to you. And so what might be of concern to you or Heather
Or Howie.
Howie, I'm thinking about your nonprofit, Howie.
Yeah.
So it may not be important to some other layperson. So when I'm talking to somebody, I ask them, what kind of health issues do you have in your family? I mean, there's all the EPA has a list that says this is in your water and this is a cause and effect. The Consumer Confidence Report has a list of everything that's in your water. I tie those two together. When I'm talking to folks, I ask them what's important to you as far as what you may want to have cleaned out or not cleaned out. And we design systems specifically for that consumer.
So what you're saying is you can actually custom design a water softener?
That is correct.
I'd never heard that before, I don't think. Maybe from you, but
So, Richard, when I first met you, it was at a chamber mingle, and I just remember it so clearly because I went up to you, introduced myself, and you said, "I'm Richard, and I'm going to blow the lid off the water softener industry, and I'm going to be on a podcast about it next month." And I was like, "What podcast?" And it was this podcast.
Oh, wow. That's great.
Right? And it was just so funny, and then we got to talking about it. But that's your goal, is to blow the lid off the water softener industry. And when you went into water school, which I didn't even know what is a thing, you migrated toward, let me learn more about how to water soften.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm just going to say that instead of the selling. Once you got into the selling, did you even realize that they didn't know as much as you, or is it something that you went in to selling water softeners fully knowing?
I mean, that's another great question. When I entered the industry 25 years ago, Superior Water Softeners has been around for 19 years. I was trained on how to sell, how to close a customer in their home. And it wasn't with all the information that I talk about today. And in fact, if you go online and you enter the keywords, for instance, on Google, and you put in something like water softener sales training, you will find a plethora of different sites that will train you exactly the way I was trained 25 years ago on how to run water test in a kit. It's a black suitcase. I call it the charlatan case because it's a snake oil kit as far as I'm concerned. These kits have 7 different tests that can be ran in-home, and they are designed to make your water look so filthy during these tests. And then, I was trained to do this. Then you hold some of the test vials up, and you ask the customer, would you bathe in this? Or another question that they'll ask the consumer is, do you want your family to bathe in this? And that kind of pushes the buttons on getting you to make a decision sooner than later. That's not clean water. Water softeners, having a water softener or a carbon filtration system is not clean water. Those systems, or any kind of filtration system, even your refrigerator filter, it cleans your water for so many gallons that go through it, and then it needs to be replaced. So when you have an application that is going to remove contaminants through filtration, that's exactly what it's doing. It's removing contaminants. What folks don't realize is a little bit of everything else, including some of that stuff. It could be chlorine, it could be the rock in the water, it can be trihalomethanes, again, man-made carcinogenics. A little bit of everything stays in that water filtration system for life or until it dies. And some people have that system even though it's died for 15, 20, or 30 years. Most water softeners don't live more than 5 to 8 years. And they still, go ahead, Heather.
So when you started Superior Water 19 years ago, did you still think like a salesperson the way you were trained, or did you start Superior Water because you were enlightened to this fact and wanted to create a different product?
A little bit of both. When I started my company 19 years ago, I thought I could build a better widget because when I worked for these other companies, their systems were all breaking down. I had customers that I was selling systems to under their flag, and they were calling me asking me, why does my salt tank smell like musk? Why can't I ever get the slickish matter off my skin? I was trained to say, well, that's just the way water softeners work, and then you're going to need periodic service over the life of the system, and you know, it's basically a work in progress. You buy it, you install it, you service it, it dies, you start all over again. So I decided I was going to create my own company. I thought I could do better, but long and short of it was my system started having the same problems. I thought I was going to do something better because I cared more than anybody else. I then realized through a process of learning how to work on just about every valve head that was out there, how to service equipment, because as a new company, small company, I could not make enough money on new sales. So I had to know how to service equipment. Well, I started finding filth, when I say filth, it's nasty. Inside of systems that were 1, 2, 3, 5 years old, I found algae blooms inside of water softeners because they were not being serviced regularly. So I'll shorten it up right here. This is the end of it. I then went and looked for answers. I found a PhD in water. I mentioned it, Mark, the last time I was on your show. I found a PhD in water at a WQA Water Quality Association trade show here in San Antonio. I took him videos, pictures, and he enlightened me on why everybody, including me, myself, was having this problem, which was filth in water treatment systems.
So what I'm hearing there is, like every single entrepreneur, you started doing something and you were like, I can do this better. This is inefficient, not right. I'm going to go build a business. Then you started doing that, and you learned that actually I can't do it better right now. But instead of just continuing the status quo, like a lot of business owners do, you went out and you found the answers. Did that cost a lot of money? What was the process of getting the answers you needed?
Well, I said this on your show last time, Mark. I can sell anything until I can sell ice to an Eskimo until I realize that the ice is dirty.
Can you sell ketchup popsicles to a woman wearing white gloves?
Howieism.
So once I realized that whatever I'm selling is just not right, it ends for me. My conscience is just too great. I cannot do the wrong thing. I was raised always, the military taught me, you find a problem, find a solution, implement the solution. So the cost of the solution at that time was about $500 difference per household. So if somebody, and even today, you can sell 1950s technology for a water filtration system. Most of them are undersized, for $300 to $400 for the garage unit. My systems cost not $400. My systems cost about $1,000 per household solution, because it's a far better technology-driven piece of equipment that cleans water.
See, but I'm interested because I know your product is superior. What was the process of finding the right resources to create a superior product?
The PhD in water gave me a recipe. He said there's 4 things you have to do in order to have a water filtration system that will clean itself out correctly. In other words, flush the dirt. Dirt does not belong at the bottom of your water filtration system forever. Now, if you've already bought a system, that's okay. You're still my customer. You're my kind of customer because you believe in filtration, clean water.
And I know I'm on this, but most of our listeners are entrepreneurs, because when you have a pain point, right, and you realize, oh, I'm selling a product I no longer believe in, I need to figure out where to start. Did you already know you needed a PhD? Or did you have to go and figure out who is going to be the right resource to help me with this?
I went to my industry.
Okay.
Okay. I went and started knocking on doors. I mean, I knew a lot of people, and I was asking this. I was saying, "This is what I'm finding. Here's my problem. Help
They're
me
probably
understand."
like, "Oh, Richard, come on, don't stir the pot here."
That's
This is fine."
exactly
You know what I
what
mean? It's like,
happened.
hey, look, this is the way it's been since the 1950s. Just because you just got here doesn't mean that you need to mess everything up for everybody.
That's why I want to talk about it, because if you felt that way about your industry, I bet $10, not a lot of money, that somebody else out there is feeling the exact same way in their industry, and they've probably knocked on 1 or 2 doors, and the
Right.
industry says, "Nah, don't rock the boat." But you kept looking.
Well,
What
look,
gave you that?
Now
Kept looking.
let me tie that into another question, because we think about other people that we've had on the show. We've had people that own HVAC companies. We had plumbers. We've had electricians. We have other tradespeople. Those are pretty easy to judge whether or not their stuff works. The pipe was leaking. They came out. Now it's not leaking. It's too warm in my house. They came out. Now it's cool and it's staying cool. The lights weren't coming on. They came out. Now the lights work. This industry, you put in a water softener, you may clean it. How do you know if it's working or
and
not? And if they bring the black suitcase, that still doesn't prove anything.
No, but I would take it a step further, because then when you have that slick feeling on your skin, what are we told? Well, that's just the
That's part
natural
of it.
process.
That was the first thing,
of the
because
salt.
I had a meeting today, for those of you who don't know this. And
What's a meeting? Oh, no. I
what
thought
does
that
it
you
mean?
had
No,
a
no,
meeting.
I had a meeting. And so I see Mark come out, and I see him talking to Richard. And so I was going to show the guy I was meeting with the studio. So I went up to the group and, introduced him. And he looked at Richard and he goes, he's from out of town. He's from Florida. And he goes, "Oh, you're in the industry. You're the reason that I can't take a shower in my brother's house without feeling like I can't get the soap off." Yeah. First thing he said, because people think that's normal. They're just like, "Yeah, you're the reason I can't get the feeling of having soap on my skin off." And we've had people in the water softener industry who are just like, "Yeah, that just means your
That
water
is normal.
soft."
And what did I say to him?
You told
not
him
that
biofilm.
guy.
Yeah, you did.
I'm not that guy. I'm the guy that removes that slickish matter so that you don't feel the endless soap coming off that you can't get off your body,
Which is the biofilm.
which is the biofilm.
So which was because when the systems aren't correct. Now, you said there's 4 parts
Right.
to that. Obviously, the construction of the unit,
Yeah.
how it's set up.
I love this part.
Go ahead.
Okay, so there's 4 things. Number 1, you have to have a system that is capable of having enough backwash power. So most water softeners, when they go through a regeneration, they backwash at about 0.5 gallons of water per minute. It's barely a vibration, just so you can have the ion exchange. The heavy brine mixture, which is the salty water, then allows with a little slight vibration to knock the rock off the resin. And then it goes through the finalization of finishing that process, and then it goes back into service. He said you have to have a system that backwashes at minimum of 3.5 gallons per minute so that you are able to lift the dirt that settles down at the bottom of your water softener out. Dirt does not belong down at the bottom of your water softener. Item number 2 was you need to find a system that does not hold water in the salt tank, because the salt tank usually holds about 5 gallons of water. Dirt is the host of microorganisms. So in the summer months especially, you have dirt sitting in a Bugs Bunny, the old cartoon where they were always hunting them and wanted to put them in a pot of water. Okay, well, dirt in water, warm water, incubates the microbes that are living in dirt, and therefore you have a bacteria growth that starts to occur in your salt tank. That bacteria growth, the foam holds dirt up. That foam is a bacteria. That comes into your water filtration system. He said you cannot have that. So you want to make sure that you don't have water inside of that salt tank, so you don't incubate microbes. Number 3, you need to find a solution that will sanitize your water filtration system without killing the medias. It has to be a not so much a heavy chemically based solution. It has to have a slow sizzle to wash the biofilm that adheres to everything inside of a filtration system. By the way, biofilm, it doesn't matter whether it's a filtration system, a pipe in your house, your sink area, a biofilm sticks to everything. The 4th thing, he said, now here's the key. If you cannot find a solution, 1, 2, and 3, the fourth thing that you should always remember, then don't do anything. Do not install a water filtration piece of equipment because you're growing the film. You're multiplying the contaminants that stay inside of the filtration system. So therefore, you're complicating the biofilm or the filth situation inside of your filtration system. So a 1-to-1, your water purveyor to the family home, is a 1-for-1. If you have a filtration system in place and you're never cleaning that puppy out, you become a mega problem. You become an infestation for bacterial growth in your water treatment device.
Now, on your salt tank, you showed me this because you put the system in my home, right?
Yes, sir.
And I don't spend money on things that I don't need, right? But again, I believe in water, filtration and all of that kind of stuff. So, but inside the tank, there was like a residue of sorts on the sides of the tank that wouldn't come off. It was more like a scarring or something like that. So this is something that if people have a water softener and you can check the tank where you put salt in, when they see that, what are they looking at?
When you see like an etching on the side of your tank, biofilm is a living being. It has teeth. As it's flowing through anything, again, it doesn't have to be a water filtration system. The teeth, if there's not a layer of biofilm already there, a scout comes in, and that sounds kind of weird, but a scout comes in and grabs a hold of whatever it can and puts its teeth into it. And then it puts a little hand back out, and there's a manual that I have from the Water Quality Association that says this. Biofilm comes out and it starts collecting on top of collecting on top of collecting. It creates a colony. That colony starts sticking to everything, and the biofilm eats a layer of something into anything it's holding on to.
So that's what they're seeing when they see that.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You're making me
All right.
terrified of my
when you
water.
come into my house for drinks and bring some of that blue Hawaiian so we can pour it into something.
Just pour it in the water heater, right?
We're just
Heather,
gonna drink it
if I
over
can,
ice.
you asked me a question. So when I went to my industry and I pointed out that I found something, I needed help figuring out how to eradicate it from my systems because they were breaking down, I was told, hey, that's the water softener mecca. That's the exact phrase.
Like a good thing?
Money mecca.
Oh,
Yeah.
money mega. Because
repetitive service.
Ew.
Call. So as I started to realize this, what I was up against, which was an industry that didn't want to talk about it, versus me that wanted to open up into the air the
Let it
problem,
breathe.
let it breathe, find a solution, I decided that I really didn't care because water to me is life. I can't do the wrong thing. That's not in my DNA. I had to decide whether I was going to get out of the industry or whether I was going to find a solution, and that's where I found the solution.
So when you said, I'm going to blow the lid off the industry, what does that ultimately look like? If you do it at the level you want to, what kind of change are you going to drive?
I have the benefit of being able to make a very strong statement here. I am debt-free at 63, and nobody owns my soul. Nobody. I will not allow an industry to tell me what I can say or not say if I know it's the truth. At the Water Quality Association show 2024 in Florida this year, I went up to one of the companies that trained me, the president of the company, and I told him what my plan was. And he said, Richard, be careful. He said, because if you open up this door, it can ruin you. And I said, well, so be it.
Oh, I went way darker than ruin you.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
like, they're going to kill you?
Right. I thought they were going to put a fatwa out on him.
In other words, so I'm like a salmon swimming upstream. I already know. I'm going to die. It's full circle. It's the circle of life. So do I want to die hiding things that the general public should know about water treatment? It's important. Mark, how do you feel about the product I put on your house called Sanitizing Solutions?
Yeah, for sure. Look, I saw what was in it before, right? Because Richard came out. Ran it through a cycle. We had water in it, and you see all this brown stuff floating on the top, and it's foamy. And I'm like, that doesn't seem like that should be something. But I don't really understand the industry or whatever. Mm-hmm. So Richard breaks it down, and then my wife and I, we digested it for a period of time, and then we were like, you know what? This just makes sense for us to do it. And it's really non-invasive. It just sits and it trickles out over a period of time, right?
Right.
It's on a timer. It'll last a year. And it's really pennies, and it'll help reduce that biofilm over time. The thing is we didn't change our unit out, right? Because we just spent quite a bit of money on the unit, not understanding the backflow issue, which I think is huge. Ours is at half, probably 0.5. You checked it, it was a 0.5, and it needs to be at 3.5. That's a big difference. That's like having a water heater where you don't have the drains not big enough. It's a 3/8 instead of a 1/2 inch, so you can't really flush it out properly.
Right.
So that's a big deal. I didn't understand that. And then also the placement of the filtration system with the actual salt unit and how that works together.
Right.
I understand a lot more now. So somebody looking to buy one should definitely understand the component-wise, plus being able to service those components over time so there's longevity there, but then also being set up to make sure the biofilm has not become a problem. I think that's a full solution that you should be proud of, and I'm absolutely thrilled that we have that system in our house.
And
I paid for it, by the way. This wasn't like an endorsement or whatever deal. This was I paid for that unit because I saw the value in it.
So, by the way, I was going to say, man, this is super valuable for you, Heather, because if we knew at your age what we know now,
I'm going to live so much longer than you guys.
Yeah, no, well, yeah. Plus, we already bathed in this stuff for decades, man.
I mean, I have some
How come we didn't
decades
meet
under
30
my
years
belt.
ago?
But I don't have a
Do you
water
have this
softener, and right
installed?
now I'm really happy about not having
Do you have
one.
that installed
Of
yet?
course I don't. No, I don't have any water softener
you don't?
installed. And honestly,
Well,
this is making me really glad I don't have anything
Well,
yet.
actually, okay. So, like, if
That's
you
what he said.
If you decide to do the research, what we do. Look, I'm just gonna hold this up just for a second.
I'm a Dallas girl. We're not as water
work off
softener
the
heavy.
we work off the water quality reports. Okay, so I have 2 appointments coming up. They're in an area where I have not printed out water quality reports to present to the customer. They give me their address, or they give us their address. I find their water purveyor. I print out their consumer confidence reports, and I go in and I sit down one-on-one with the customer, and we educate them on their water quality report. And we test their water in their home to the extent that we can without doing the 7 tests that I told you about. Mm-hmm. So then when we're finished, we help them understand the solution that we're recommending and what we're going to address and what we're going to clean out and how we're going to make sure their system stays sanitary. So all that to say, Heather, if you decided that you wanted to do something, we don't come to sell you anything as much as we come to educate you.
And that's the thing, the way I have learned it. And I think the way any good salesperson has just learned it. And that's something I heard at the conference this weekend. It's about framing it, but it's also about educating. It's about showing how your product is the solution to their problem, but it's also about learning about their problem and truly providing the best solution. And that's how it should be. So
Yes, ma'am.
kudos to you. But my question from there, beyond this podcast, which we've got a pretty good reach, especially in San Antonio, how are you getting the word out other than this podcast?
One of the things that I'm near and dear to is the military veterans. And when I went on this journey of trying to figure out what was going on with the filth inside of systems, once I found some keywords through the PhD in water, and somewhere I have his card. I really need to find it, talk to him. Just if I could follow up with him. But one of the things that I found was looking up definitions of biofilm, and one of the compelling PDFs that I found was from Wikipedia.
Oh, I saw that Wikipedia sheet. I was kind of reading over.
It's
cheating on your
it's a lot of people do not like that name for whatever reason, but I found it gives the most detailed and comprehensive overview of biofilm. Biofilm is believed to be 70% responsible for our physical ailments today, from plaque in our teeth, cardiovascular disease. It penetrates our body in such a manner that if you have hip replacements, knee replacements, any kind of artificial limbs, even heart valves. It literally will coat itself and grow on top of grow on top of grow, let alone eat into everything. So it can literally damage any kind of devices that you've had installed in your body.
Is that why you're talking about the military because
Right.
of the amputees?
So what ended up for me during this period of time of discovery, we had veterans coming back with missing limbs, arms, legs, burn up face, you name it. And it says in this definition that it's believed to be responsible for our inability for our skin to regenerate properly during recovery periods. And because it's a low-grade bacteria that coats everything. And so I decided that what I was going to do was try to get the word out to the military veterans. That didn't go over well. I didn't have a clear and definable message. And so what I decided to do here recently was I put a program together for military veterans. Anybody who purchases a water filtration system from us, they can be a layperson that has no military experience whatsoever, or they can be a military veteran. As a matter of fact, one of my sales reps that I brought in that's going to be joining the company is Rodolfo Lopez, and he just retired from the Army. He's a veteran. I'm a veteran. I put this program together so that I can help veterans understand what water treatment is really about, help them not get taken advantage of by companies trying to charge $8,000 and $9,000 for water treatment. That's an unbelievable price. Nothing is of value in city water at $9,000. Nothing. If you're being pitched $9,000, run, kick them out of your house, do whatever you got to do, but start over, start a different conversation. But here's my point. Every customer who buys a water treatment system from us, Superior Water Softeners during the presentation allows the customer to pick a nonprofit organization that supports military causes, from traumatic brain injuries to mental health to physical inabilities to do whatever. And a significant portion of our profits, every sale, a little bit of money is donated to a nonprofit organization. And I say a little bit because I try to be humble about it, but it's a nice chunk of change.
He does well, folks.
Mm-hmm.
For where I'm at, I believe in giving back. By the grace of God, I'm still alive and I do
They
well.
haven't got you yet.
Let me. I'll connect you after the show to VOSBO, the Veteran-Owned Business Owners Association.
Okay.
And Goldberg, the wrestler, he's a member of that. He lives out in Bernie. And I went out to it, and amazing. Jordan from Triton Cleaners, he's an officer on that organization.
Nice.
Great. And they do everything right by veterans. I mean, and I think you'd be a great fit because you're a veteran and you're a business owner.
So I actually want to dig in a little bit. So when somebody's got limb replacement, okay, and that's obviously flesh, right? And then you've got metal, right? And what I'm getting from your conversation is when there's an inability to heal that can be exacerbated by this biofilm, right? That's how is that? Is because they're bathing in it, they're cleaning with it, whether it's there, so it's preventing some kind of healing from going on, which can then lead to sores and other things?
Yes. Okay, so I want to qualify that. First off, our water purveyors today do the best that they can do. I mean, they're having to clean water for hundreds of thousands of their customers. And so they're tasked with making our water potable, and they do a really great job of that. So I'm not saying our water purveyors are the problem. I'm saying the water is the problem. So biofilm, and again, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a PhD, but because of my military disabilities, I basically just read a lot. I read everything water. I breathe water information.
Like a fish.
Like a fish, exactly.
You can breathe underwater.
And so what I tell folks is if you're going to have a water filtration system installed, please, whatever you do, make sure that you're not being sold a water filtration system. It's a very, very fine line because you should be gaining knowledge from a reputable source to help understand how to make sure that when you buy a system, because
we covered that in depth, right? But what I'm trying to get at is if somebody's got a biofilm problem, is it going to inhibit the natural healing process when it comes to a veteran with limb attachment?
Again, I'm not a doctor, but I'm
That'd
going
be
to
a good
say
question for Wikipedia, sir.
Yes.
my
Your
humble
thoughts.
opinion, and I'm going to say opinion because
Yeah.
I'm not a doctor. I don't want to get sued.
Sure.
My humble opinion is yes. I believe biofilm in the water is an inhibitor to the inability of our body to heal itself.
When it comes to like
Let's ask artificial
wounds and things like that,
intelligence.
yeah.
So basically, if you are a person, veteran, you get an extra bonus of being philanthropic with it if you
Right.
get a new water softener. But if you're a person with an artificial limb, any kind of implant, anything that is not bone, tendons, muscles, whatever that comes naturally in your body, you need to check out your water.
Well, if there's anything in the, like people who have sores, people who get abscesses and stuff like that.
Right.
So that's kind of stuff, if biofilm is coming into contact regularly, it can inhibit the natural healing process.
Absolutely.
That's your
Yeah.
point, right?
Yeah, and to take a look, we have zero competition. Superior Water Softeners is not in the competition of selling water softeners. We focus on cleaning water as it affects a water treatment system. Nobody else in my industry, near or far, has this subject that they address or addresses this subject to the consumer effectively enough. So if you want somebody to help you understand how you can have a system and have a system that'll stay cleaner, then you should talk to us.
I think
Real
from
quick.
a business perspective, focusing on biofilm, making sure people understand what biofilm is and what the issues that it can exacerbate, and then what a way to eliminate or at least reduce the biofilm in their home is a huge selling advantage. At the end of the day, selling is how you actually get the product into the home.
So actually, I kind of wanted to bring it back around because when I asked you, how are you going to get the word out about this problem beyond this podcast, you told me how you were going to give back. But I also, just from what you said, I wrote down what I think would be an amazing book title or article title. The Filth in Systems, Blowing the Lid Off the Mecca of Water Softener Sales. Does that sound like something you would click on, Howie?
I would. If it's provocative like that, I
Yeah,
would.
you
By
could
the
even
way,
tie it to like how society reinforces, like you could tie it political if you really wanted to go in. Like you said, you don't have anything to lose. You could make it a commentary not just on the water softener industry, but on society as a whole. Because like if you're going to go all in, go all in.
I kind of
right?
like that blowing the lid off
Blowing
of
the
also,
lid
and that could be the subtitle. I did a quick artificial intelligence search, goes to hundreds of thousands of articles all over the place. Bottom line, here's 6 words. Presence of biofilm delays or prevents healing.
Yeah. So there again, that's a really good. I'm a salesperson at heart. I enjoy that aspect of it. I'm probably a high I on the DISC assessment and D. But so understanding how to communicate a message well in very short order that has people go, you know what, I need to pay attention to that is important. And so you're swimming upstream, to your words, against the industry. The industry is telling people that the biofilm feeling that they're getting, they're not saying biofilm, but the slick feeling that is actually a sign of good things.
Yeah, that it's working.
That is working.
That it's
Right.
working.
Right.
You're the counter message there saying, look, when they're saying that, that's what they believe to be true.
Hey,
but
but
here's
So
the
is
facts.
San Antonio big enough is my question.
Well, you got to start
a
somewhere.
starting
I know
point.
you got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Well,
But-
we service San Antonio and 50 miles surrounding.
Okay, is San Antonio and 50 miles surrounding, is it big enough for you?
Yeah, but you can sell that everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. But yes, to answer your question, San Antonio is big enough for superior water softeners here locally.
And the water's hard enough that a lot of people want water softeners.
I don't mean monetarily, though.
I want to circle back around to what you asked me.
And there's a lot of military people.
What am I willing to risk is what I got out of your question.
I love that interpretation.
Okay. I recently started up another corporation called WQ Resources. It stands for Water Quality Resources. My plan, which is being put into action now, is to take 19 years of my brain, which is basically AI, and putting it into a website that can be accessed by the layperson, or if my industry wants to access it, by subscription. And my goal is to make a change in my industry. My industry, in my opinion, is not doing the right thing. I am going to educate my industry and help them understand what clean water really means at the point of sale or presentation.
Do you mind if I just coach just a smidge?
Sure. Yeah.
Because I heard what you want to do. But how do you plan? Because you can build a website. Doesn't mean people are going to go to it. You can offer a philanthropic piece to the water softener thing. Doesn't mean people are going to know that it's even happening.
Right.
How are you going to get the word out? And how big do you want to get the word out?
I want to get it out.
So let's start there. How big do you want to go?
I want to go all the way. I mean, when I die, I don't want somebody to say, Richard Garcia, look at him, he was very successful at selling water softeners. That's not what I want to die for.
Okay.
I want people to say, Richard Garcia, he made a change on how we actually look at how we treat our water. We have gotten really, really good at our own demise when it comes to taking care of our water sources, our water sources in the world. We don't have any more water than we had hundreds of thousands of years ago. We've just gotten really good at dirtying it. I mean, really, really great at dirtying it.
So what I'm hearing is I have a solution to a prevalent problem that nobody really knows about.
Right.
And my question to you is,
how am I going to get
what
the
are
word
some ways that you can get that word out so I know it exists?
I'm doing it now. Yeah. I hired a marketing company, a military veteran retired out of San Diego. He just recently retired. He's been building websites. The name of his company is Never Enough Digital Marketing. And we have been building video content on messages repeatedly. He's constantly calling me or messaging me, telling me I need a video that says this, I need a video that says this, and we're pushing them out on all the social media avenues. There's going to be a video library. There's going to be an informational library. I recently have gone out and visited Impress, who is the major tank technology purveyor now in the world. I was there this past like 3 weeks ago. I invited myself to go visit them, and they allowed me humbly. They allowed me to come in. They don't allow dealers to come in because I'm not their customer. Their customers are really the OEMs, original equipment manufacturers. But they looked me up. They saw that I sell higher-end equipment, so they allowed me to come in. I got a full tour of their operation. Phenomenal technology when it comes to tank technology that flushes filth out of water filtration systems.
How is that getting the word out to the masses?
Because
that sounds like research.
all that is going to be on the website. It's going to be pushed to both of my companies, and then I'm going to be sending broadcast out for public invite to come in and grab the information. And if I can, sooner than later, I will probably go on a little speaking tour.
By the way, look at the
never said before. I've been asked many times, how come you're not out there lecturing about this?
So thank you, because honestly, it's interesting though, because it took going through all of that to get. That's the answer to how are you going to get the word out? Well, I'm creating this website, I'm gathering all this information, I'm creating all this content. You're going to go on a speaking tour to what medias?
So, right now we're doing TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn. We're catching up on that.
But those aren't speaking tour sites.
Oh,
those
no,
are
as far as
content
media-
sites.
as far
Where
as
are you
media-
going to go on a
I
speaking
don't know. I'm
tour?
going to be asking you, Heather.
You and I can have a meeting.
By the way, I
about
was going to
that
tell
then.
you, look at the Bloomberg business model. They have a subscription, and they kind of blew the lid off of investing information. I think an individual subscriber can pay $299 a year to get inside information about trading and to be more competitive. And he became a multi-billionaire by gathering information on investment opportunities. But more importantly, he has financial investment firms buying subscriptions, and some of those subscriptions are $2,000 a month. Because I know some companies that subscribe to Bloomberg for their inside subscriber information. And then some companies are paying hundreds of thousands a year for even a higher level of access. So Michael Bloomberg, who was New York governor and ran for president, how he made his money is through brokering information about the investment industry to industry insiders.
But that's the thing. If no one knows about it, it doesn't matter if you have the best product in the entire world. It could change the scope of everything. But if no one buys it, no one goes
if
to it.
19 years of gathering this information, putting it into a solution that has hardware and cleaning equipment, et cetera, and expertise, somebody's willing to pay for that so that they could shorten that learning curve.
You obviously have a superior product, but I want to know how, you've got a very sensational message that I think people need to hear because it is negatively impacting society as a whole, honestly. How many people, not just veterans, but general population have injuries, surgeries, and we have no idea if they are not recovering because, the ripple effect is massive. So,
Getting creative on how you deliver that content to people that are willing and excited to consume it is critical. So, there's a lady that I know, she does viral TikTok videos. She's here local.
oh, Maddie.
And when you can tap into something like that, where now instead of hundreds of people, it's tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands or even millions of people that can see a message that is crafted in a way that people are clickbaity, right? Or entertaining, whatever. They're going to click on it and they're going to hear over and over and over again that biofilm is not a good thing, that you're being lied to about it by people who mean well, but you've got to overcome that. And so narrowing that to the biofilm message, I think, is critical, in my opinion, because that's the thing. Everybody's like, I like it, I don't like it, or whatever. Nobody's saying that that's not healthy.
And then finding the right initial audience, because some people will be just whatever. But if you can find the right initial audience that then spreads it to their family and friends, and you can make a massive impact. It's just finding the right platforms with the right audiences to get in front of first, and then it just snowballs.
Well, and if I can, I really appreciate all the questions and all the comments. I'm a success not because I figured it out myself. I'm a success because I listen to people.
Yeah, you aggregated the information, and that's what you can benefit people with.
One of the things that I got here as I'm thinking through a lot of the comments and questions was really the question that was being posed to me is what have been some of the impediments to your success in your industry? I mean, how did you grow? How did you not grow? I would think to some extent a lack of my success has been because of my own inability to keep my message simple. But it's very, very difficult to do that because the consumer needs to know a little bit of this, a little bit of that. It's like making your own tacos. I mean, you have the shell, you have the meat, you have the lettuce, the tomato, the hot sauce.
So
Sour cream.
have you figured out a solution to that? Or
I'm morphing every day. And Mark talked to me outside before we came in here, and he was stressing, try to find a way to keep it simple.
Well, the simple message is the biofilm.
Right.
Because you've got to tap into what people are experiencing already.
Right.
And then you tell them, you flip the script.
Right.
Well, that's not healthy, right? So, I like it or I don't. It doesn't matter whether they like it or not. The simple message is that it's not healthy. So crafting that message is more Howie's expertise. I'm just a simple person that says, look, I want to understand very quickly what's the problem here, and does it relate to me?
Right.
And can I afford to fix it?
But also, if you look at these polarizing people, like online, the people that really get the message out, I would bet more than the 10 cheap dollars that I bet before. They have speaking coaches. They have people who their expertise area is to hone in on the true core message and help them learn how to communicate that quickly and with just the right amount of context. So I would recommend, if that's not something that you've looked into before, find a coach. Not me. That's not my forte. Like, that'd be cool. No. But like, if you find a speaking coach who their job is to help you learn how to hone in on your message and convey it in a way that will get people moving, that's probably where you need to start.
What are your thoughts there, Howie? Because again, you've been in marketing advertising for a long time. You speak all the time and you speak well, and you're able to craft a message that delivers, whether it's using analogies or not. What are your thoughts on that?
Heather's right. May not only be a speaking coach, definitely do some online tutorials on speaking.
Toastmasters has a thing.
Toastmasters is good locally. The other thing is develop your elevator pitch. As easy as it sounds, you need to be able to convey what you're talking about, why you're different, and how that benefits the consumer. And you do that in 3 sentences. I'll give you an example. I mean, I didn't have an elevator pitch for Sharkmatic for the first 20 years. And then once it got on my radar, I said, I need one. And then I thought I had the best one. And then the following year, I changed it. Now it's very simply. Every business struggles with marketing. True or not true?
True.
True.
Okay, stop.
I
I want to interrupt, but we'll build on it.
Yeah.
So everybody with a water softener experiences the biofilm. Okay, next.
At Sharkmatic, we developed a signature approach to helping our clients communicate their message effectively and economically. If you are in marketing, you want to help somebody communicate effectively and economically. Effectively reaches the people you want to reach. Economically means, because you said, could I afford it, right? So effectively and economically, that's our differentiator. We developed a signature approach. Is it the only approach? No, it's not. But it's the one we developed.
We
So now
spent
your signature
19
approach is
years.
the 4 things.
The 4 things.
Yeah, the
Right.
4 things.
We've developed a 4-step approach to solving the problem, right? Once you've identified the biofilm, that it's not good, our approach gets rid of it. What's the other piece?
The last is how that benefits our clients. As a result, our clients tend to be more successful than their competitors.
I have that broken down into a formula. I'd be happy to send it to you. Just a like 1, 2, 3.
That would be great.
This. So
Look,
yeah, I'll send that over.
I'm a true believer that the only way I can learn is to listen. So I don't have not one bit of the thought that I know it all. I learned every day from folks.
Well,
just
you have
today-
a stack of paper right there. that
Look,
says that.
just today I was on my way here, and I was rushing to get in here, and then something told me I needed to slow it down, and I look over, and there's a homeless guy sitting on the curb, and I'm getting ready to buy myself a breakfast and a cup of coffee, and I decided I needed to go take him something to eat and a bottle of water, and so I handed it to him, getting ready to walk away, and as I'm getting ready to walk away, I said, what am I doing? The guy needs somebody to talk to. So I sat down for 15 minutes. I'm on my way to come to a show to make myself successful, but yet I'm not willing to spend time with an average Joe who just needs somebody to listen to. And so I sat down with him. What is this message? Is we should all stop and smell the roses. The fruits of life are right in front of us. We can just turn our nose and just walk that way and say, I'm going to be successful. Does that make me successful? No, it doesn't. You have to be well-rounded. You have to be a giver. And I appreciate everything that y'all are saying because I'm looking for certain keys to take me to the next level, and you're presenting some of those.
Speaking of which, you're doing some stuff with realtors here in the San Antonio area as well. What's going on there?
Well, referrals, water softener companies are looking for folks to give them referrals all the time. They pay big bucks. I mean, they'll pay somewhere between $200, $500, $700 just to be able to get the referral, close that referral opportunity up. Realtors are a major source of referrals. And unfortunately, most people do not really know how water filtration systems really work, the biofilm as an example. So their credibility is on the line every single day. When they give a referral out to somebody, their credibility is on the line. So we created a program not only for the veterans, but we created a program for realtors to help their referral integrity stay intact. We offer them the ability to build a little kitty of money that can go back towards doing their home showings, or maybe referring us enough that one day they say, you know what, I have a customer that I want to do something special for. So every 10 systems that I might give $1,000 off to one of their customers. So it just depends on the realtor, but the whole idea of the program is to make sure that realtors and their name recognition stays intact. So for instance, we are the preferred vendor for Keller Williams Legacy. We recently signed up with Keller Williams Signature Services, and we're going to be introduced to Keller Williams Heritage. Hopefully we'll be able to come on there. And so Rodolfo is going to be my liaison between all the realtor groups that I just mentioned. We'll have an active presence inside of the house where the realtors can come and talk to us, ask us about our product, maybe refer us to their customers, maybe even do a handoff. When I say handoff, here's my client, so on and so on. Protect the realtor. That is the name of the game. Make sure that make sure that our realtor program is there to protect the realtors overall.
If somebody wants to get a hold of you, they want to talk to you more about biofilm, or they do want to get a water softener, how can they get a hold of you?
Oh, you can reach us on online, superiorwatersofteners.com, or you can call us at 210-792-0962. And those are the two best ways, but we're pretty much, you call, we come.
Thank
right,
you, Richard
keep an eye
Garcia.
out for speaking tour,
Thank you so much. That was super enlightening.
All right, as we wrap up the show, quick reminder, check out our latest podcast and catch video version of the show anytime by visiting our website at satalkradio.com. That's going to be it for this one. You guys did a great job. Thanks, everybody. Have a great week.
Awesome.
Awesome.